Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday, May 13th, and great to be with you today. We're still struggling with this crazy spring weather, hey? Some days are sunny and some days are dark. Snow will come in, rain will come in, it'll be blue sky, all the same day, sometimes in the same hour. And we can experience some of that in our own hearts. Sometimes we're feeling positive, sometimes we're feeling overwhelmed, and sometimes things are the road ahead is bright and clear, and other times it's very dark and stormy. And so, how do we handle those dark times? I want to talk to Teresa Rilling today, and she's on our council. She goes to our church here. She's a fantastic woman. Her husband is Jim. He is one of our pastors here, and Teresa has got a great perspective on how we function in the dark and how we can trust Jesus in those times. So let's go and talk to Teresa now. Well, good morning, Teresa. How are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you? Good morning, Pastor Tim.
I'm good. You got some lovely flowers there. Is that you have flowers that helps you think positive these days, or what's the flower?
Absolutely.
That's
Flowers
Mother's
are
Day.
happy.
Was that Mother's Day flowers?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. I've had flowers since my heart issues in January in my house, and I love them. And
So
these ones
good.
are spring daisies. So,
You know what? That's there's something to that. And days
yep,
that are bleak, get yourself some flowers.
absolutely. And if not, tell someone who cares, and maybe they'll get you flowers.
Get them to get you flowers. That's right. That's
Yeah.
so good. You're a busy woman. You're involved in our city council. You care a lot about this town. What
Mhm.
how's the temperature of the town these days, do you feel? How are people doing?
Well, in general, we hear from people who are doing great. And just last week, we had a great report. Somebody said they just want to thank us for all the that we're doing to keep our community safe and well. And then we get other emails or calls that are much the opposite of that.
Mm.
They're frustrated, they're hurting, they're struggling, and they just want to know if we know anything that they don't know.
Right. And the reality is nobody does.
No,
Everybody's map making right now, right? From the highest
absolutely.
levels of government to our neighbor next door.
Yeah.
Nobody knows really what's happening next. We all got plans and thoughts and ideas, and we're going to try something that seems to be the best solution for what we know. But yeah,
We really have no answers. And what we hear is what you hear.
yeah,
And we're sitting in the same place as you are, and our community. Like, people are hurting. I'm hurting too. There's times when I feel like I'm just not, how can I make a difference? Because I sit at home. I try and stay out of public, and I've worked really hard at, obeying all the rules and staying in. I'm not good at staying in because
no, you're a
I
social.
like people.
You love people.
I love people. And I like it when I get to hug them. And I love it when I get to hear they're happy and they're sad. And I mean, there's just so many hurting, struggling people. But even in my own neighborhood, I have just learned that even in this time, there's hurting people, but there are ways to communicate. There are ways to love on them and care for them. And I've just taken it on every week, or even many days during the week. I'll say, okay, God, who do I get to bless today? And it can be with muffins or cookies, or a knock on the door and just have a 6 foot visit, where, or calling. Like, we have elderly on our street who I haven't seen since this started. And
Wow.
one of them's a diabetic, so I made them something diabetic. And we've had 20-minute to half an hour conversations
Mm.
because they hurt and I can care, even though I can't touch them or physically be with them. But it's been really actually a fun new experience for me who likes to be with people all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, one of the things we were talking about earlier, this whole new normal, and you said there's someone on your team there that had a different perspective on the new normal. What was that?
Well, our bylaw officer, one of our bylaw officers actually oversees bylaw officers in the town of Sylvan Lake. In one of our meetings, he referred to, well, people kept saying it was the new normal. This is our new normal. And Nick said, I prefer to call it the new now, because that's really what it is.
Yeah.
What we decide in this hour, the next hour it may be changed, especially in regards to COVID and the numbers and the restrictions. And even now in reopening, what does that look like? So he refers to it as the new now. And I really like that description.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It keeps it the reality. I was talking about our new normal being, our new normal is completely abnormal. That's the new normal, because it's just changing all the time. But I like that definition of the new now. We have this moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we all always have only ever had this moment.
Exactly. And so often we almost like to steal from tomorrow, but we can't. We can only live today, the new now. And what is my new now? Where am I experiencing Jesus in my new now?
Yeah.
And how can I make a difference? Yes, in my neighbors' lives, but in the lives of my children and my grandchildren. I miss them. I ache for them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that most people do, but the new now is, I don't have them here and I can't, but I can pray for them in a new way. I can experience my time with Jesus in a new way. Like, one thing I always say when I feel the darkest, I always go back to, my faith is pretty simple. I go back to that Jesus is the light of the world, although it feels dark. And although it feels like it's like a cloud over us, I keep going back to that from John 8:12, where Jesus said, I am the light of the world. That is not, that's definitive. That's it, period. I am the light of the world. And what I do in those dark times is I will often, and I brought myself a candle, because I will light a candle. And there's nothing magical about this candle. It's just, but it's a light. And Jesus says that he is the light of the world. And this candle actually has a fragrance. And when I put this candle in my room, when I walk in that room, I smell the fragrance and I see the light, and it's warm. And it's a reminder that Jesus is here. It's not because the candle's Jesus or it's got magical powers, but it's symbolic of the light of in this world. Because in Psalm 139, he says that even the darkness is not darkness to me. Yeah. You know, and though the night will shine like the day. And when we hold our hands around that light and realize that Jesus is here, and as his fragrance, and even as the fragrance leaves the candle, it's a reminder to us in our senses that Jesus is here. Yeah. And even the darkness is not dark, because the light of the world lives here. Wow.
That's gold, Teresa. And thank you so much for sharing that, and the picture of that candle too. And I think that's something people can take away. Again, there's nothing magical about that, but it reminds us of who Jesus is. It's a constant reminder. The feel, the look, the smell, the touch, all of it is a reminder of Christ's presence in our lives, which is true. And So thank you. Thank you so much. I know you're a busy woman. You got lots on the go. And so thank you for taking the time for this to talk with me, to bless ACC today.
Blessings on you and thank you.
Okay, have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Such good words, hey, of Jesus being our light, always being the light in the dark place. You know, Teresa referenced Psalm 139. I want to read to you some of those verses today. This is out of the Message. It says, God, investigate my life. Get all the facts firsthand. I'm an open book to you. Even from a distance, you know what I'm thinking. You know when I leave and when I get back. I'm never out of your sight. You know everything I'm going to say before I start the first sentence. I look behind me and you're there. Then up ahead and you're there too. Your reassuring presence coming and going. This is too much. It's too wonderful. I can't take it all in. Is there any place I can go to avoid your spirit, to be out of your sight? If I climb to the sky, you're there. If I go underground, you're there. If I flew on morning's wings to the far western horizon, you'd find me in a minute. You're already there waiting. Then I said to myself, oh, he even sees me in the dark. At night, I'm immersed in the light. In fact, darkness isn't dark to you. Night and day, darkness and light, they're all the same to you. That's a great psalm. I memorized that psalm years ago, and I come back to it off and on. And I just encourage you to read that whole thing, Psalm 139. Work at memorizing it these days. That God is the God who sees us when it's dark. And it says light to him. So you haven't disappeared from his sight. He may seem disappeared from your sight, but you haven't disappeared from his sight. He loves you and he's with you. So be of good cheer these days. Trust that Jesus is there, that he is the light of the world. Hope you have a great week. God bless you. Talk to you on Friday.